Welcome home, residents. It's your Mayor Alistair back once again, and since the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer has released, it's left many fans divided, to say the least. There are elements of this film that some fans seem to love, and some seem to hate, with some even freaking out about it. The three biggest hot topics being the mutant, the humour, and the potential canon-breaking retcons. So today, we're joined with Jacob and SWRVE to answer the question, is it really that bad? Or is it something that just needs to be delved into more before people really understand it? Now, leading up to the trailer's release, I was on the defense with the whole mutant idea. I thought it kind of like fit with the Jurassic World, story and, its themes. But, you did see a lot of discussions happening, like that doesn't belong in a Jurassic film. But now the trailer's released and we know it's going to happen, what do we think of it? Because, fans are still pretty much split down the middle.
Well, I like the premise, like having a mutant, a failed species all of those years ago, because, it's almost a guarantee at that point. You don't jump straight into building something so big like this and be successful right away. It just doesn't make sense. So the whole premise and idea of it sounds great, but then you come into some contradictions, and then you come into the model that really throws me off. Like, even in my trailer reaction, I knew the hybrid or the mutant would be there, but the size of it, that really threw me off. Like, I had no clue it was going to be that large, and especially like to see something that's not a sauropod and pretty much be a quadruped, it just doesn't look right,
It's safe to say that the reaction to the mutant has been divided, with many fans outright hating the concept and design. Man, I'm really tired of all this hybrid mutant dinos. Why can't they just use real dinos? So many cool prehistoric creatures, yet they create abominations. What is something like that doing in a Jurassic Park movie? Looks like something from Resident Evil. I don't know how to feel about this, honestly. Horrible. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely love everything else. I just hate the whole mutant hybrid idea. Personally hate the mutant plotline. Another mutant because their writers are too incompetent to make nature's true perfect predators scary. The general consensus has been that it doesn't belong in Jurassic Park. But does it? Let us know what you think in the comments section down below.
We haven't really got any good shots on it, it's still been being very hidden. Every single angle that we got at this mutant, it looks like it's a different size. I mean, that one shot to where you just see its arm or whatever that is come on the screen, it looks like it's 50 feet tall right there, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So I don't know. We have to wait and get a true look at this thing, I think. But yeah, it's definitely caused some controversial takes, as well as the trailer itself. I feel like has a little bit of an atmosphere issue behind it that is aiming for an audience that, I'll let you get into that out.
Yeah, so obviously, if you're introducing something as big as a mutant, you want to really go hard in convincing them this is something that's gonna work. But then the trailer, 50% of it is kind of them telling jokes, and it's kind of more action orientated, and then they just slap this mutant in there without having any kind of build up, or there's no momentum making you feel like it should be in this film. So everyone's like, wait, hang on, what where did that come from? What's happening? One of the biggest complaints in the trailer has to be regarding the humor, with many saying it feels out of place, and that it makes the film look tonally colorblind.
None of what you just said is good.
This is so cringe!
But is it enough to ruin Jurassic World Rebirth?
More or less.
So I think a lot of people are coming away from this trailer kind of confused on what they should feel about it, and I think that's kind of why maybe the trailer's reaction's been quite mixed. I still think the film's gonna be really good, but I think at this point, the trailer I don't think is a very good trailer for telling audiences what kind of film it's gonna be, because I have no doubt it's gonna be more atmospheric. It's going to have lots of slow moments where you get to sit in the atmosphere, and it's probably going to have lots of tense moments and scares, but you don't really get that from the trailer. So it does not convince you that a mutant should really work unless you are already on board with the idea of a mutant.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the trailer's been edited in a way that, because if you think about the articles that have released over the last few months, right? they have said it's pretty much like a horror survival kind of thing. Not too like graphical horror, but they've pretty much said how much they want to focus on horror.
Like the King Kong original story. Yeah.
But the trailer is not edited in that way. It does not give off that vibe. So I think they've probably done that specifically.
I agree.
To entice a wider range of audiences, because if you edit it like A Quiet Place or like The Terrifier or something like that in that trailer sense, there's going to be a lot of people who are turned off it, because whilst I'm sure that there is probably a majority out there who want to see something more horrific from this franchise, there's still a big audience who don't want to see that. So it's kind of like a mixture, like a good best of both worlds kind of thing.
And it's not even like, it's not like we're the only ones noticing. Like I don't think I've seen people recreating like trailers so early on before, but I've already seen like 3 and they've all been pretty much better than the trailer that we got. I saw one just today that had the from the screenwriter of Jurassic Park and from the director of Godzilla and Rogue One, and I was just like, why wasn't that there?
I made the same
why
tweet.
Didn't they have that? It's a huge thing.
Exactly. I was thinking, like, this is kind of like as they said, it's a new era of the franchise. So you want to address it as such, because we already knew the trilogy, the Jurassic World trilogy, was Colin Trevorrow, and it was pretty much the same guy over and over again. But then this is something new, and I'm not sure many people like out of the general audience would know that. Even if like you're a movie nerd, you're still not going to know that Gareth Edwards or David Koepp would return unless you're actually invested in the actual news specifically for this movie. So in the trailer itself, saying that it's right there for the screenwriter of the original Jurassic Park and the original Godzilla, or not the original Godzilla, but you know what I mean, in the monsterverse, that would have brought a lot of people in right away.
And I think the people that we've seen the reaction amongst moviegoers is that there's a portion of people who really want to see that Godzilla -1 style of super serious, kind of feels more down to earth, a little bit more realistic. People just really want that, and they wanted they wanted a trailer like that was slow, that was scary, that you didn't see anything until the very end, and then it goes rah, and then it's like, whoa,
like I said, I think
Jurassic
the film will
Rebirth,
still be like that, because even Gareth Edwards has been like, we're doing the less is more approach, but like the trailer makes it look like there's going to be more dinosaurs than in any other Jurassic film. Like they just like threw everything at the screen. The humor, the way the trailer was edited, I don't think it really does the film justice. But I think one thing which you're quite passionate about is just kind of whether it conflicts with the lore of Jurassic or not.
There's a fair few things.
There's lots of things where you can just go, well, it's an island that they didn't want to document, so why would anyone know about it? But even just down to like the stuff we know about the first labs and Lockwood, this doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, at least based on what they're telling us. So what is that? What are you freaking out when it comes to the canon for Jurassic and whether this is gonna maybe retcon some stuff? Hardcore fans of the series haven't been able to shake that something is wrong with the film. After years of painstakingly following the lore, Rebirth looks to topple that by bringing in new companies and inventing a new island where the research actually happened. Not Sauna, not Lockwood's estate. This is a new place that everyone conveniently forgot to mention. But is it really something to worry about?
Mate, I've been the whole week actually, since the trailer released, I've been studying my arse off to try and work out how this fits into the whole canonical lore, because there's so many things said throughout the trailer, and I get it's just the trailer, so you can't take everything at full face value, because it could just be like a passing by comment in the movie and it doesn't really mean anything. But like at the same time, why would you add that into the trailer if it's not like anything to do with the timeline? And it just gets a little bit convoluted, because for example, like the mutants, we know that both InGen and Masrani, if the creature didn't come out right, they would kill it. For example, like they'd get rid of it, they'd destroy it right away. So I don't know how they would have left the mutants to get to this big stage and look at the way that they are and be how old as they are. Like for example, even in Camp Cretaceous, Dr. Wu was so amazed that Bumpy came out asymmetrical, because he doesn't like that. So it's just like one of those things, like people overlook it quite easily. Then you get with the new mysterious island, and it's not documented, but then when you look at the legalities of it and get really deep into it, they legally have to document what's happening on the island. So a lot of things happen in the timeline, so I'm sure it's very hard to make a movie that doesn't retcon one thing or another, whether it's big or small. So it's just I think it's a matter of how much that they can get away with without pushing the timeline too heavy.
I'm hoping that, David Koepp has done his research. He's someone that's been out of the Jurassic series for 25 years or so. When does Lost World come out? A long time ago. So if he hasn't been through and been like, oh yeah, I've gone and watched Camp Cretaceous, which, let's be serious, he probably hasn't. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff that he's missed. But
there's a lot of stuff
just hoping, fingers crossed, that it doesn't clash and people can chill out and just enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you look at Chaos Theory, they contradicted and changed the timeline. Like, we know Dominion was set in August. We know for a fact. And then all of a sudden, they pushed Dominion to November. And it just, because, you can see the calendar in the background says it's in September, then the producers confirmed that it takes place before Dominion, so it has to push Dominion to November. So, those things do happen, which is unfortunate. But again, how much can they get away with before it gets a bit too... You're changing too much,
From what I got to why everyone's, kind of both good and bad freaking out, I think this is all a designed attempt at trying to just get people talking about this movie.
Well, we're used to that kind of the way they treat the Monsterverse, how they kind of just do whatever they want.
It's very Monsterverse-y.
Yeah, the way they made the trailer sound, they made it sound like it's lore for the general audience. It's like, we mentioned Jurassic Park, everyone clap. And everyone goes, yeah, I remember that.
So this is an interesting take, because I feel like there's a ton of mystery still with the Jurassic series going forward, and I hope that it does make sense in the end, and it does kind of reignite a true lore in the Jurassic franchise, because it's bounced around. It follows these rough guidelines, kind of like throughout the whole series, but they have yet to really stick with an idea for more than a few movies at a time here in this franchise that's been around for a lot of movies. So maybe this is the beginning of everything kind of coming together, but
fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see.
It depends if they want to make more animated spin-offs, and then they kind of just do whatever they want with that.
Well, they might as well. They've got two. They might as well make a trilogy out of them.
I think that about wraps up the three different things that I think people are freaking out about. You've got the mutant, you've got maybe the way the trailer's edited and the humor, and you've got the lore kind of just looking messy. Those that have issues with the trailer are of course entitled to their opinion, but it's worth waiting for the final film to release, because I guarantee that most, if not all, their questions will be answered. It's still early days, and if Rebirth releases and answers none of them, contradicts the lore, and doesn't give a believable reason for the mutant to exist 50 years after they started researching the dinosaurs, then the fans are truly justified in freaking out about the trailer. But for now, let's remain cautiously optimistic that the writers know what they're doing. Right, there we have it, right, that's why fans are freaking out. It's one of the very
few movies that you can go and say, I think the movie will be better than the trailer.
There you go. If you have any specific thing that you're freaking out based on the trailer, let us know in the comments section down below. I've been Alistair, he's been
Jacob,
and the other one's been
SWRVE.
Give this video a like if you're hyped for Jurassic World Rebirth. As always, subscribe and chomp the notification button for more Jurassic content. I've been Alistair, joined with Jacob and SWRVE, and we'll see you, residents, in the next one.